Hi. Good morning. It's Thursday. Finally. Oh, let's see. Today is, I believe, 11. Is it the 19th? Oh, I gotta look. I don't even know what the date is. It's the 19th. I was right. Today is Thursday, November 19th, and this is In Case You Missed American History. So if you're watching this, that means that you probably missed class today for some reason, and that's okay. I hope you're well, and I hope those around you are well. Um, so if you've been missing quite a bit, make sure you're backtracking and watching the videos for the days that you missed. It is kind of important to get yourself caught up and have an idea of what's going on. We do record these every day, and I promise we talk about 95% of the things that we talk about. The only thing you're missing is, I'm just going to turn a little bit, get that window out of the back. The only thing you're missing is a little bit, the interaction, the question and answer, stuff like that, little trivia at the start. So please make sure you're doing your best to keep up with what you need to do. So the goals for today are going to be pretty simple. First of all, the test yesterday. So if you were gone yesterday, we took a test on Reconstruction. That's actually listed as Reconstruction test in the assignment in the classwork tab of Classroom. So if you didn't do that yesterday, please make sure that you do. If you were in class, here is my issue. There are 17 people in this class, on this roster. And as of this morning, I only have 9 of those tests. That's not okay. There are people that were in class yesterday who knew that the job was to get the test done by midnight who did not do it. And so I am telling you right now that if I do not have those tests soon, I am going to start making some parent phone calls, not just emails, but parent phone calls about getting things done. So please make sure and get those in. For those of you guys that took it, I started to look them over. I'm going to try to have them done for you by tomorrow's class, but I think the latest that I would have them done is Monday during class. I'll post the grades for them as soon as I get them done. People didn't really have many questions for me on the test, so I assumed things were pretty straightforward and people knew what they were doing. Okay. Other reminders. Don't forget, and I didn't put this on the reminder part of things. I'll have to fix that before class. Don't forget that you have an assignment due Friday by midnight. We moved the Reconstruction and Race in the South assignment back to Friday. So that needs to get done. At this point, I think 3 people out of 17 have handed them in. That's okay because it's not due yet. So make sure you're getting that done, writing in complete sentences, all those kinds of things. Other things on the reminder side, make sure you're reading the feedback on your assignments. I take a while to grade things for you guys. I shouldn't say I take a while. I grade things about as quickly as I can, but I take time on each of your individual assignments to make sure that I'm giving you feedback about the way you're writing, about, you missed this question, you missed that question. You could have added this, you could have added that, adding punctuation and capitalization seem to be the most common things I've got to write down. But I take the time to write that feedback because I want to give it to you to help you improve. If you're not taking the time to read it, you're probably just going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And you're not going to grow as a writer, as a historian, and that's not what we want to do. Remember that you can take that feedback and make improvements on your assignment and resubmit them for a better score. If you get a 2 on something, or 2.5, or less than a 2, or even a 3.5, and you look at it and you're like, I think I could do a better job. I can fix these things he told me to fix. Theoretically, if you fix the things I told you to fix, your grade should go up. I'm not saying they're all going to magically turn into 4s, but you should see an improvement. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. And then make sure you're going into Infinite Campus every once in a while and checking through your grades. It is important to know where you stand in classes. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're missing things. I know that I have students who are like, they looked in things and they were like, Seep, I know I did this. And I go, well, did you turn it in? Oh, crap. No, I didn't. And the only reason they knew that is because they looked at their grades and realized they had a 0. So make sure you're checking your grades, not just in here, but in all your classes. Teachers are doing the best they can to get things graded in a timely manner and get things back to you. Okay. So really kind of the new stuff today is we're going to talk about what the new unit is going to be about. And we're going to cover the goals for the new unit. And then I'm going to give you work time. Okay. So if you're watching this, obviously, anytime you have allotted for American history, use that to work on Reconstruction and Race in the South. Get that done. If you're unclear about what to do on that assignment, please feel free to reach out, and I'd love to help you. Okay. All right. So the title slide for this chapter kind of does what we're going to cover. And so if you're a note-taking person, it might be a good idea to to go through and write this down. If you're one of those people that does screenshots, well, that's the whole slide. And so what we're going to look at in this chapter is something called Manifest Destiny, which you talked about with Mr. Place if you're a Marshall kid last year, briefly. And we're going to talk about Manifest Destiny and the cost of that expansion, not the dollar cost, although we can talk about that a little bit. But we're going to talk about what happened. What happened with Native American tribes in the West? What happened with Latino people who lived in the Southwest? How hard was this on the people that were settling these Western places? What were the results of that settling? We're going to focus a little bit more on Manifest Destiny tomorrow. So if that idea is unclear to you, if you're like, I don't remember what that is, that's actually what we're going to lead off class with tomorrow. So we'll go deeper into that. The painting that I chose to be the side picture for this one is actually a pretty famous painting on the topic of Manifest Destiny. And if you look at it, you can obviously see we've got pioneers moving west. We've got a Native American village in the background. There's a train in the kind of the middle section of it. Oh, my lights just went off. Wave my hands. Put them back on. There we go. Okay, and so it's kind of a picture that depicts Manifest Destiny, and obviously the angel floating above everyone with the book is also stringing a telegraph wire as she moves west. To bring that communication to the West. So Manifest Destiny and the cost of expansion is what we're going to be looking at. Our goals for this unit, what we want to cover, sorry, itch on my arm, what we want to cover during this unit, and this is going to be what we're going to look at during this thing. It probably would be a good idea to write things down so that you had the ultimate goals of what it is that we're trying to do. And this is going to be the only slide we're going to cover today because I want to give you guys some time to finish up that assignment. So in this unit, some of the things we're going to do is we're going to compare and contrast the reality of the Old West versus the myths. We're going to talk about what you see in Western movies and what you would come to expect the roles of certain groups of people to be in the West based on those versus the reality of what they are. And that's actually going to be our first topic tomorrow that we're going to talk about. And although it will be kind of a quick one, we'll keep kind of hitting back to that over and over throughout the entire unit. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about Manifest Destiny. We're going to discuss the idea of Manifest Destiny. We're going to talk about what it means, where it comes from, kind of why, I guess. And that's going to be the other thing that we're going to do tomorrow. That obviously is a big idea because the idea of Manifest Destiny is kind of the steering idea of the whole unit. We're going to talk about the Transcontinental Railroad. We're going to evaluate the impact of the Transcontinental Railroad on Western settlement and Manifest Destiny. We're going to talk about the building of the railroad. We're going to talk about why it was so important to the development of the country. And we're also going to talk about the problems that building the railroad caused with the people that already lived out in the West. Then we're going to spend the majority of our time on the fourth bullet point, which says, think critically about the impact of expansion on Latino and the native peoples of the West. So we're going to look at as the Transcontinental Railroad is allowing people to move faster and as more settlers are going west, what impact is that having on the peoples that are already there? So we're going to talk about the Latino people that lived in the southwestern chunk of the United States and how that white settlement impacted their lives in the region that they had lived in for a very, very long time. And we're going to look at the impact on Native American tribes. In particular, we're going to focus on three situations with the Native Americans. We're going to look at what happens to the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes around Pikes Peak. We're going to talk about the Nez Perce Indians, which lived out in Idaho. And then we're going to talk about the Sioux Indians, which I guess I would say the Black Hills area, but North Central Plains is what I guess I would say would be the area. And we're going to talk about those three tribes because they all had kind of three different ways of interacting with the white settlers and the army, but they all had very similar outcomes. And so we'll look at I always call it the tribe that tried to give up, the tribe that didn't resist, and the tribe that fought back is kind of what we'll look at. Then we'll spend our last day or so in the unit. We'll talk about the economy of the West. What did people do for work? We're going to look at farming, ranching, and mining. And we'll talk a little bit then about the role of women in the development of the West. We'll talk about the occupations that they held and what they did with their money and their power and their role in the politics of the West. We'll wrap things up. Now, that's really the only things that I want to cover today. So if you're planning on time for American history today, and I hope you were, then spend some of that time finishing up that assignment. I know it's from the last unit, but I I didn't want to give you the test and the assignment due on the same day. I know you had a big English assignment. You guys are in English 9 with Ms. Prezenka. So if you have any questions, please reach out. I'll be posting those grades, be checking things, be taking care of business, not just in this class, but in all of them. Have a great day.